heart of Pakistan's dusty plains lay the village of Noorabad. Tucked between barren hills and a sluggish river, it was a place that time seemed to have forgotten. Most villagers were farmers, their hands calloused from toil, their dreams limited to the size of their fields. Children were often seen herding cattle rather than holding pencils. The local school building stood at the edge of the village, crumbling, abandoned, and filled more with cobwebs than books. That was until Mr. Irfan arrived. No one knew much about him. He was a lean man in his late 30s with a kind face and a worn leather satchel slung over his shoulder. Rumors said he had left a well-paying job in Lahore to teach in Noorabad. To many, it didn't make sense. To Mr. Irfan, it made all the sense in the world. On his first day at the school, Mr. Irfan stood alone in the empty classroom. The wooden benches were broken, and the blackboard had a crack running through it. There were no students, no teachers, just silence and decay. He spent that week cleaning the classroom himself. He borrowed tools, painted the walls white, fixed the broken benches, and repaired the chalkboard. His efforts caught the attention of a few villagers, but most remained skeptical. "What's he doing?" old Nasim Baba asked. "Probably giving up by next week," someone replied. But he didn't. He went door to door, speaking to families, urging them to send their children. Many refused. "What will my daughter do with books?" one father said. "She's to be married in 3 years." Still, Mr. Irfan persisted. After 2 weeks, 5 students showed up. By the end of the month, there were 12. Mr. Irfan taught more than math and language. He taught curiosity. He used real-life examples to explain lessons. He showed kids how angles applied to cutting wood or how water flowed in irrigation channels. He encouraged students to ask questions, to challenge ideas, and to think. He noticed that the girls were shy, barely speaking above whispers. So he created safe spaces for them, introduced story circles, and gave them confidence to speak. He read them stories of Malala Yousafzai, Fatima Jinnah, and Rabia Bashri. One day, he brought a globe and showed them where Noorabad was in the world. "This is your place," he said, pointing, "but your world is not limited to this dot." As enrollment grew, so did resistance. Some villagers, particularly conservative elders, saw change as a threat. One night, Mr. Irfan's tiny house was vandalized. His books were burned. A note was left behind. "Go back to where you came from." The next morning, he arrived at school with a bruised eye, but a wider smile. "This," he told his students, "is why we must learn. Ignorance fears knowledge." Support quietly grew. A few mothers came to thank him in hushed voices. Some fathers, after watching their sons read fluently for the first time, began sitting outside the school just to listen. Slowly, the fear turned into fascination. 3 years passed. The school had grown from 1 classroom to 4, thanks to donations Mr. Irfan gathered from former colleagues and social media. Electricity was installed. A water cooler was added. He even brought in a retired nurse to teach hygiene and basic first aid. Girls who were once destined for early marriage now dreamed of becoming doctors and teachers. Boys who once skipped school now competed in provincial quiz competitions. Mr. Irfan started a night school for adults. Farmers learned how to manage expenses, read market rates, and understand weather patterns. Women learned to write their names, read medicine labels, and handle mobile phones. The entire fabric of the village began to shift. Among all his students, Mr. Irfan had a favorite, though he never admitted it. Her name was Amina, a bright 13-year-old girl with sharp eyes and a red dupatta she wore every day. She came from a poor household and worked mornings in the fields before attending school. Amina was curious, driven, and unapologetically ambitious. One day she stood up during a class discussion and said, "Sir, I want to become the village's first engineer." "Then you shall," he replied without hesitation. She later became the first student from Noorabad to receive a full scholarship to a city college. On the day of her departure, the entire village gathered. Mr. Irfan handed her a dictionary. "You'll need words as much as numbers," he said, smiling with misty eyes. In 2022, a local journalist visited Noorabad and wrote a piece titled "The Teacher Who Changed a Village." It went viral. NGOs reached out. TV channels aired interviews. Mr. Irfan was offered awards, grants, and jobs in elite schools. He declined most of them. "I'm already where I'm needed," he said. But he accepted one thing: a grant to build a library and computer lab in the school. He named it the Learning Lantern. He used the media attention not for himself, but to spotlight his students. He wrote articles about rural education, spoke on radio shows, and mentored other teachers in nearby villages. After 10 years in Norabad, Mr. Irfan finally announced he would be leaving, not to rest, but to start a new school in an even more remote village in Balochistan. The news broke hearts. Amina, now a qualified engineer working in Karachi, returned to say goodbye. She brought him a new leather satchel. "For your next village," she said, eyes wet. The villagers organized a farewell that resembled a festival. There were songs, food, and poetry recited in his honor. Children wrote thank you notes. Parents cried. Standing at the center of the school he rebuilt from ruins, Mr. Irfan gave a short speech. Education is not just about reading books. It's about building better people, better lives, and better futures. Norabad will always be my home, not because I taught here, but because I learned so much from you all. He left with nothing but his new satchel and a heart full of memories. Epilogue, a legacy that lives on. 5 years later, Norabad is unrecognizable. The school now educates over 400 students. It has a science lab, a computer center, and a sports field. Former students now teach there. Girls outnumber boys in higher classes. The village literacy rate has jumped from 18% to 76%. Amina leads an NGO supporting rural girl education and is building a bridge to connect Norabad with the main city road named Irfan Bridge. Mr. Irfan's story continues. Village after village, changing lives, one child at a time. And somewhere out there, in another forgotten village, another crumbling school waits for the footsteps of a man with a kind face, a satchel full of dreams, and a heart big enough to light them.